Plasma opens the vault.
DFF throws in the towel.
PipeWire's coming to Fedora.
And an open source YouTube client?
That's another great day for Linux, everyone. Let's go. And welcome back to Linux Weekly Daily Wednesdays, where we sit back, relax, and take a break to talk about the fascinating things that we found going on in the world of penguins. I'm Ben Stone, joined every week by one Pedro Montes. What's up, buddy?
Hello, I have a new chair.
You got a new chair? Show me that chair.
Yeah.
Hey,
It's an alright looking chair, if we're being honest. It's not blue like everything else. It's actually got red stripes, means it goes faster. I don't know where it goes faster, but it definitely goes faster.
According to Popey,
oh yeah, El Cheapo Amazon chair. He's got the exact same one.
It might go fast, but not necessarily all the pieces will arrive at the same time.
No, all the pieces arrived at the same time. It's just that they will start dropping at different times. And the chair has this nasty tendency that if you actually lean all the way back, it snaps into the like the lounge position.
Oh, your brain's like, you're about to fall. You need to flip out and do this.
But you actually don't fall. So, yeah.
It's kind of brilliant. Hey, man, I got this. Look at that. Look at that new hotness.
Big chair.
Thank you, Truggy. We'll be thanking you properly later on into the show. But speaking of that, let's get right into this, because Ike did an incredibly long live stream with a few of his BFFs, right?
Yeah, so if you may or may not know, Budgie 11 is supposed to be like the big new and improved version of Budgie, which is the default desktop environment for Solus, and there's even a Ubuntu spin with Budgie by default. It's one of Ike Doherty's babies. And on the 16th, Ike actually did a live stream of him basically going in and trying out a bunch of different things and just moving the development along. Now, according to Ike, because honestly, I didn't have almost 7 hours to watch the live stream, and according to him, it was just 5 seconds short of 7 hours. Himself, Joshua Strobel, and Brian Myers all took part in one way or another. For his part, Ike says that most of what he did was complain about how much he hates C++. He also mentioned to get rid. He also mentioned to get rid of most of the QML in the Raven panel thing that Budgie uses. He did a couple of more things, and most of the work right now is actually going to FairyD, which is the backend repo manager for Solus. So basically getting the package management, repo management to be that much faster, which is the big goal right now. And no one really seems to care about that, and it's what I told Ike. That's a good thing. If you're working really hard on something that your users don't really care, that's good. They don't care, and you get to do whatever you want. So as long as it doesn't affect them, they will continue not caring, and you can keep on doing whatever you want.
I'm glad he had a good time with that, and like 7 hours, that's even pretty epic live stream for the likes of us. Solus is a very interesting project. It's definitely come quite a long way in a short amount of time.
Oh yeah.
Budgie, what's that all about, though? I mean, listen, I haven't had a chance to play around with it on the desktop because reasons.
Because you have that one environment that you seem to really enjoy. But no, it's a GTK 3 based desktop environment. It's not GNOME. It actually falls more into the traditional desktop environment category. It's not a HUD like GNOME 3. It's got a panel. It's got a menu. It's got a task manager with the window list. You can have a panel with a dock type of thing, situation similar to how Windows 7 works out of the box. There are a lot of customization options, which is something that you don't get in GNOME by default. The GNOME team actually cut out a lot of the customizability in order to offer exactly their vision, exactly what they wanted. But in Solus, you can actually go in and customize a lot of different things, and there's a lot of custom things already built into Budgie, which actually makes the desktop look and feel really modern while retaining that traditional desktop environment thing. Yeah.
Well, if we're going to talk about desktops, we need to talk about Plasma and the new beta 5.11. So tell me about it. Never heard of it.
Well, this is the... there's a new version of Plasma coming in, which is version 5.11. And right now they have a beta out, version 10. What was it? 10.9.5, something like that. And it is... They have a bunch of different things. The task manager, like the new version, will have a task manager that allows for custom actions without the application having to statically reference those same custom actions in the desktop file. It may just work with a great deal, many bits of software already, but the ones that don't will still need to be updated to allow this. There's a GUI for managing encryption. They call it the Plasma Vault, which allows you to set encryption on a per directory basis if you want, or the entire home directory if you didn't set it on the whole root directory right from the start. There's one thing it can do with Wayland, and only Wayland so far, which is it can have different DPI settings on a per monitor basis.
Now, this was definitely one of the big things that I looked at because, Plasma, the Wayland compositor, it can now just automatically apply the scaling, based on the density of the screen and do it. This is the brilliant part for each different screen. You're like, why would that ever be a thing? Look.
As someone who has 4 differently sized screens around them right now,
and
yeah.
Especially one of them is 3840 by 2160. This, the struggle's real, ladies and gentlemen. And quite frankly, this is good on you, KDE. I don't use KDE. I don't use GNOME. Nothing against them. Every time I try them, this feels like a very closed-in ecosystem. It makes me want to run off and buy a Mac. But
GNOME, yes. KDE, not so much.
Yeah,
actually, KDE, that's what seems to drive people away from KDE the most, is you can customize everything. Well, literally everything. And people go, oh, what? No, analysis paralysis? People, no, just not having any of that, and they go back to, like, GNOME.
Probably. I mean, that's definitely a thing, but I think every desktop manager, even my beloved XFCE, sort this. This is a real thing that needs to be fixed, because currently, like right now, with XFCE, if I want to, it can kind of auto-manage. It does what I like to call good enough for government work. Between, 1080p screens, these funky, slightly higher than 720p screens. But if you manually play around with the DPI settings, it embiggens them on everything else, which looks ridiculous and can make a smaller screen completely unusable. So I say good on them for that. But we do have another thing going on. Just a quick mention, don't we, for the...
Oh, yes. Which is also in the heels of the KDE story, which comes from Martin. I'm probably going to butcher that. Martin Graslin. Something like that. And he says that today his project, X-Free KWin, that's just a KWin window manager, reached a huge milestone. He succeeded in starting KWin Wayland instance, which does not start XWayland anymore and does not require any X11 interactions whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
Finally. Took you long enough. But this is actually a good thing. It's KDE. If you are a KDE fan as much as I would like to be a KDE fan, I used to be a KDE fan back in the old after 4.9 days. Because before that it was terrible. But yeah, Wayland is the future. If we are to believe that, then all of the desktop environments will eventually at some point have to support it. And it's,
well, I mean, then again, on that exact same note, I was reading a blog post where they're working on getting Mir to work with Wayland. So yeah, Wayland is the future.
Yeah.
That's definitely a thing. This, getting rid of X, getting rid of that shim, getting rid of that dependency, especially since NVIDIA walked in, and I'm sorry, yes, you won't disagree, but if you're dealing with the production, real work, and you got to get stuff done, I know, don't worry, we have a contact section that you can tell me how wrong I am. Yes. The proprietary NVIDIA drivers, and NVIDIA kind of walked out and said, yeah, we're not going to be dealing with that. So,
because that's actually the issue that a lot of people have with the NVIDIA drivers, which is NVIDIA is using a different way of running EGL streams, while everyone else is using the other way. I can't remember them both exactly offhand, but they're both handling things differently. I think NVIDIA is doing EGL streams, but the actual Wayland developers want them to use the other way. So, yeah, no, there's a big kerfuffle going on there, and honestly, I don't know who to side with. The underdog, the person who roots for the underdog in me wants to say, yeah, no, they are the Wayland developers, they should know better, so NVIDIA needs to kind of, set aside their ego.
Listen, NVIDIA will get around to it when they need to get around to it. I kind of understand where they're at right now, as we got bigger stuff to worry about. Because when you think about just the entire footprint of the installation of Xorg.
Yeah, that's a sizable chunk.
But even that's just a fraction of Mac or Windows.
So, yeah, it is.
You're talking about a sliver of a percent, and it's like, NVIDIA, why aren't you focusing on this right now? This thing's just give it time. They've been pretty good with that. I guess we got to bring this up, man.
Oh yeah, this was the big one.
Yeah. So, this happened. World Wide Web Consortium has abandoned consensus with 58.4% support. EFF resigns. That's a rough title you got going on there. Boing boing. What went down? Because the whole DRM thing has just been all over the place since forever and a day. They tried to take basically what? A vote? Is that what they went for? Like, who wants this in?
Yep. There was a vote on the appeal because, as you may remember, we talked a long time ago that the EFF was considering introducing DRM. Well, not the EFF, but the W3C was considering introducing DRM into the standard of how the World Wide Web works. But obviously, the EFF doesn't like that because it's DRM. It doesn't respect your rights. It only respects the rights of the companies who own the copyrights, the IPs, whatever you want to call them. So that's an issue. And the EFF, they may have their flaws, but they're the ones out there fighting for our rights as users of the internet. All of our digital rights, they are actively fighting for them. And DRM, whether or not it's inevitable, but it removes some of our rights. You may or may not agree with how Stallman put it, but he kind of has a point. When you accept DRM, you are literally giving away your freedom and putting it in the hands of, say, Netflix or whomever. So Boing Boing wrote an article. There's also an article, the open letter itself from the EFF as to why they resigned. But the thing was that the EFF very much opposed the introduction of DRM to the web standards. again, with their own right. And there was a vote for the appeal that the EFF put in to repeal the DRMs going into the standard. So there was that vote, and that vote came back as a 58.4% in favor of introducing DRM with the...
Pedro, no, granted, my maths might be a bit rusty, but 58.4 in favor is... Okay, numbers work. Like, if there's more of one number than another number. Then, yeah. So...
But that's the thing. The thing nowadays is that the W3C was supposed to... Ideally, was supposed to stand for the open standardization of the internet.
They did, man. And they even had their thing with, like, compromise. A bunch of proposed compromises, and W3 just stonewalled them. Didn't do anything. They're like, nope, forget it. And here's the thing. It's kind of sad. It's a sad day. It is. But if we got to do real talk, we were talking before the video stream went live.
Yeah.
You know, I was personally just like a little shocked that so many people honestly believed that DRM wasn't getting in. And
anyone who's been on the internet up to now has seen what YouTube has done, has seen what Netflix has done. The simple fact that we have Netflix working on Linux is solely because DRM is a thing in Google Chrome. If it wasn't, we wouldn't be able to watch Netflix natively on Linux right now. So it was very much inevitable.
At a low bit rate at 720p. Thank you, Netflix. You are truly... No, man. That's kind of a sad thing that went down, but it happened. It's not going to get reversed. It's not going to change. Our wonderful overlords have decided that's DRM's a thing. And DRM, it's junk. It sucks. It only affects the end users, the people who pay for stuff. And
because the pirates are going to keep on pirating and getting the better service out of it.
I understand a lot of this is like you don't want DRM encumbered stuff for archival purposes. That's definitely a thing, and it's going to hinder several things. So I agree with you that, the EFF did right. It's like, peace, we're out. And
the EFF, at this point, this was the only thing they could do, because if the World Wide Web Consortium doesn't want to stick up for the same principles that the EFF has wanted to stick up, and ideally, the two were very much in line.
Mm-hmm.
Not anymore, so the EFF is going their way. The W3C is basically bending over to the corporate overlords and saying, give me money, daddy.
So let's talk about something that's a little more entertaining. Let's talk about the results of the Ubuntu Desktop Applications Survey. That's right, this is kind of the 1804 LTS roadmap, because the best way to decide things is let the internet vote on it, right? Right.
Bodie McBoatface.
I'm going to say this again to any news outlet, media outlet, or anything like that. If you claim that you've had an online poll and the number one result wasn't whatever McWhateverface, you're lying to your audience, and we all know. Okay, I just needed to get that out of my system. From the Canyon Edge. These are just like the legitimate results. You want to go through a couple of them? Take a look.
Sure. If you go to Dustin Kirkland's blog, he has the
total responses.
The slides at the bottom.
Yeah.
Yep. There's a lot of responses there, and if we're being honest, a lot of the a lot of the answers were very much in line with what me and VENN and most of everyone who uses Linux.
I mean, I'm definitely looking at most of the selections are logical. We're looking at the browser, Firefox just blowing away Chromium, Chrome, Vivaldi, Opera, Tor, Lynx.
If it is a default browser, let's keep Firefox.
See, I had a problem reading a lot of these graphs. I was like, what's that? What's that? What's that? And I had to go,
but then again,
player.
You get to... Well, VLC wins, obviously. Although I am kind of surprised to see MPV in second place.
Yeah, Totem, SM Player, M Player, How the mighty have fallen in player. Gnome Video, no, whatever, Cody, Parole, Zine. Oh, wow. That's a name I haven't heard in a long time.
Yeah, no, there was actually, and there was that one person who voted Emacs for everything, obviously. And they also have one for IDE.
Well, email is predictable. We're going through the slides right now.
Well, yeah.
Thunderbird, Gmail, Evolution, Geary, Kmail, Mutt, nope, where's Pine? I don't see Pine.
Thunderbird is a very good email.
Pine's dead, last son. Wow, all right. Text editor, get it. Gedit, you know it, you love it. It's unmaintained. Go help maintain it.
It's self-contained. It works. It's stable. It's got a ton of plugins.
I got to be honest with you, man. I'm surprised to see Nano in 4th place.
Well, let's be honest. Not everyone agrees with the whole Emacs and Vim thing. There are a lot of people who just like getting stuff done.
Let me rephrase it. I'm surprised to see Kate above Nano.
Oh, Kate's pretty good.
I don't know. Gedit. Office Suite. Well, come on. Well, let's just skip that one. Music
Unless,
player.
For some reason, Microsoft Office came out for Linux, which I don't see happening.
Listen, I know the home audience. You're watching this on video unless you're watching the recorded version because this is hard to read live right now. VLC
is
Rhythm
winning.
Box.
Yes.
Yeah.
VLC is winning the music player poll. Strider. Deal with it.
That's a thing. File browser. Nautilus, Dolphin. Where's Thunar? Thunar. There you are. First, second, third, fourth. All right. I wouldn't. What else? Of course. XFCE. File Manager. Terminal. FileZilla. PC Man. All right.
Yeah.
Terminal.
I mean, this one, most people were used to Nautilus from the old GNOME 2 days when GNOME was the leading king in terms of Linux desktop environments. Yeah. Not anymore, though.
GNOME Terminal, followed by Terminator, I always...
Terminator kicking in with the second place, yes!
I enjoy... I used to always enjoy console, but I don't like installing the kitchen sink in order to run it.
Obviously.
Really? PDF reader? Come on, photo editor.
Events.
GIMP, of course.
GIMP.
Followed by Darktable, which... all right, this guy...
As a raw photo editor, Darktable's is good.
IRC. Pigeon?
Yes, Pigeon.
What?
Now, this is one of the things I'm disappointed on. It's this one and the calendar one, which is for calendars, appointments, they pick GNOME Calendar, and for IRC, they pick Pigeon, rather than, say, Thunderbird or HexChat, which are the logical choices nowadays. Then again, at this point, I should know better than to underestimate the power of questionably opinionated people in large numbers.
Pigeon.
Yeah, lip purple.
Monsters. Moving on, calendar. GNOME Calendar, Thunder Chicken, Google, Lightning. Very, very frightening. Mamma mia, let me go. Photo Viewer, no one cares. IDE, Visual Studio. This one's...
It's like, yeah, you have a choice between an actual IDE right there in second place, and you go with the glorified Electron Wrap text editor. Really? Really? And one made by Microsoft, no less.
Frightening. Okay, now let's get to the beans. Video editor, KWin Live. Surprising.
With OpenShot coming with a very
close,
respectable second place. Yeah,
it really shouldn't, unless you're talking about the 4 or 5 year old version that works, because the 2X series is still junk.
Pretty sure that's what those people who voted for OpenShot are still using. Yes.
Yeah. Lightworks is in there somehow.
Okay, that one shouldn't be there.
DaVinci is... See, the problem with the DaVinci is... DaVinci looks really cool. I'm looking forward to playing with it, but I gotta have a Blackmagic card in order to do that. VLC... Yeah, let's see. FFmpeg, which I'm guilty of using that for editing video. Handbrake, not really a video editor, Brad. No, it's a transcoder. Blender?
Yeah. It is a DVD or a Blu-ray or video CD ripper. If you want to do that,
let's see. Let's go through. I think there's like 2 or 3 more. OBS, screen recorder, simple screen recorder, and a bunch of stuff that don't even bother with. Bonus apps. I agree with this. Why is HTOP not installed by default? That is one of the first things I do with
top with HTOP.
Yes,
it's just better.
There's no reason not to. I mean, I like having top and HTOP because sometimes if I'm in actual TTY, I just want to pull up top and I want to Shift A that so I can break it down. Personal preference.
Even then, HTOP is already, if you set like the tree view by default, it's just better.
I don't know, man. Well, I mean, that's a thing. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to 1804 LTS because that's what this box is going to be running.
Oh, yeah.
And it's going to stay running it forever. Well, until the next LTS, which hopefully will be by the death of the box. It's usually the way we have it spaced out. It's like the year before we do a box upgrade, the next LTS will come out. And I'll scream and complain for about a month. Then I'll finally go around.
Yeah.
To getting it done. So, one thing that if I can figure out how to get this thing at a full screen, there it goes. Boop. This made me really happy because growing up with Red Hat, then Fedora, Core, Sirius, start another one. Fedora used to be known for, do you want something that technically boots? I mean, that should have been Fedora. Technically boots. Hashtag YOLO. I mean, I think it was like Fedora 24 I installed. It's like, that's boring. I didn't learn anything because nothing broke horribly.
Yeah, ever since Fedora, I think 14 was the one that everyone seems to agree. That was the stable Fedora that everyone seemed to like, everyone seemed to enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
So from then on, it's been, outside of Fedora 17, which is when Fedora 15, which was when they introduced GNOME 3. That was the big, it's like, nope, not having any of that. Bye.
I gotta be honest. What we're about to talk about is PipeWire, PulseVideo, if you will, or PP. Not kidding. No, Penis. That's what it was. Also not kidding, not making this up. And this makes me kind of all the happy and excited to play with Fedora again because this is a bit mental. This is going to break stuff, and it's going to break stuff hard. And that makes me excited. It's one of the reasons I really have always enjoyed cutting edge stuff. So it's like when it's released and there's like, it's probably not going to work. Nope. But let's take a look. Let's get over to the web zone. Yeah, man, they're definitely launching the PipeWire, and it seems that they've learned some things from the rollout of Pulse Audio because
you think?
Yeah, they're not going to do it all at once because right now this is just going to be the video component. The audio component is going to come later. And it's going to be a replacement for your G streamers. It's going to allow a lot better, where you're not using 2 different systems for audio, video sync, and all that fun stuff. And this is basically to get just a single pipeline for audio and video under Linux that will play nice with Wayland and, as they say in the blog post, flat packs, which I find ludicrous because we all know Snap is the future. The PipeWire compositor for the video is going to let us do so many neat streamy things, man. I mean, from just streaming your desktop to the video calls, it's just going to be so portable. That makes me so happy. Think about it. Just the way it's built together with Pipeline, genuinely making your own Steam link now becomes trivial. Yeah, I mean, with the routing options, you're going to have some of the power of Pulse Audio, like routing to your Android device or anything like that through your home network, but with video.
Yeah. And that's kind of the really awesome thing about PipeWire is that it's coming to replace GStreamer, which anyone who's ever had an issue with GStreamer, specifically GStreamer, when you're having a specific GStreamer issue because you Google for the issue you're having and everyone's shouting, oh yeah, that's GStreamer's fault. So, yeah, no, I am all for finding something to completely obsolete GStreamer. And if Wayland is the future, we're going to have to get rid of GStreamer right quick.
Well, I think that's one of the important things we should bring up is this is going to be a viable laying the groundwork for like the stuff we're doing right now, desktop recording. We're going to need tools like this. And yeah, I got a spare box now that's currently running our Rainbow Bridge video server, but something tells me it's because it's got like a 560 in it now or something like that. It's going to be running with this. I want to play with this. I'm excited, Pedro.
Yeah. And it would be really neat if they, could get it done. But right now, with Fedora 27, they will only be providing video. So, audio, we'll have to wait and figuring out the interaction between PipeWire and Pulse Audio. That's going to be interesting.
It's exciting. Days ahead. Before we get out of here, not necessarily Linux. Well, not really, but it's open source. And it's like, this thing just kind of almost became usable, didn't it? That's, man.
Yes, it did. With the latest version, they introduced the, what do they call it?
Well, we're talking about
New Pipe.
Yeah, New Pipe. Yeah.
Yeah.
What is it?
It's a YouTube client. It is one of those clients that lets you watch YouTube videos without you having to go to the YouTube website. And they added 2 teeny tiny bits of functionality, which to me are very important, which is basic channel subscription and feed pages and search/watch history. Now, you're thinking to yourself, yeah, but if you log into your YouTube account, you can already do that. Well, that's kind of the point. You don't have to log into your YouTube account. You don't have to use the YouTube API in any way at all. All this does is it scrubs the YouTube website, pulls down like the bare minimum amount of stuff that it needs for you to watch the videos, and everything else is done by the client itself. The channels you subscribe to, they're not associated with your YouTube account, whether or not you have one. They're just in that client.
Mm-hmm.
All your history, view history, search history, it's not associated with your Google account if you have one. It's just in the client. That's really neat.
Well, I mean, I'm sure there's people who want something collected where they can put together a playlist without the Goog spying on them.
Well, they already know everything you do anyway.
Well, what about your ISP? Like, oh no, click and unplug, and that's the last you ever hear of. It's free. I want to play with it. You do need F-Droid. Everyone install F-Droid. It's really awesome.
That's kind of the thing about this is that the way it's built, you can run it on any system.
Mm-hmm.
Literally.
You can do that. I mean, you can sideload the APK if you want to play around with it with your Android device. I didn't get a chance. I meant to this week. I want to try it out because the video recommendation heck is so real.
What's that? You were Googling for pants the other day? Here's
no,
entire videos about pants.
9. What it is. Over a week ago, I watched one thing on the American Civil War about Abraham Lincoln. It thinks I'm a historian about the Civil War right now. That is like 60% of my recommendations.
To be fair, it keeps suggesting stuff about toy cars, which I'll admit, YouTube, you got that right. That's something I've always enjoyed ever since I was a kid, like teeny tiny die-cast toy cars. Love them. So thank you.
Hey, man, I want to thank some other people. The people who make this show possible. That's right. You can support this business, if you want to call it a business. You can also support what we do on Saturdays. That's the big train wreck. Choo choo by heading over to LinuxGameCast.com. Checking out the support button. I want to thank each and every single one of you who have shopped through our affiliate links on Amazon. Doesn't cost you a dime. We get a little taste of that action. That stuff adds up. It lets us do more and bigger things, a.k.a. we got a little studio now. We're going to start doing some more. Looking forward to it. Wish list. Not necessarily a wish list. It's more like things we plan on buying. So check it early, check it often. And anything you pick up on that, I actually got a picture of Frank this morning. You end up on Frank's fine, upstanding cannibal wall. Look at that.
He seems really happy with that. It's like
He was, man. He was heading out. Everyone knows Frank does choir practice on Wednesdays, and I have been trying to say, why don't you adopt a more mainstream religion, man, like voodoo? But the new name on there was Truggy, because Truggy's like, hey, man, I see you got a chair on that. And I was like, yeah, it's pink. What you can do about it?
turbo pink.
Oh, look at this. Oh, for you audio listeners, I'm turning around, showing off my pink chair.
Turbo pink chair, seriously.
It's one of those good chairs that hurts your back because your back's so crooked. But yeah, man, thanks to each and every one of you who do that. We have some PayPal donato buttons, as Pedro likes to say, and but the big thing is we want to thank our party patrons, because that's a way for us to give back to you for supporting us. I mean, you get your name in the credits. You get access to our private Discord chat where close to 100 people are hanging out right now. Access to audio-only streams, early access to show notes. And, if you're feeling adventurous, you can buy your way onto the show. I mean, it's a dare. We have people at that level, just nobody's taking the Pepsi challenge on that. But we are coming up on our 250 goal. Currently 170 patrons backing for our 211 per Saturday night train wreck. So we're doing 4 streams a week with that. That's brilliant. Thank you so much. If you've been thinking about joining us, come over to the dark side. It's we have cookies.
Kick us a few shekels. We won't ever let you down. Well, we will keep on letting you down, but that's kind of what you're buying into, I guess.
It's the best tech news without any of that pesky accuracy. That's what I like to say. Thanks so much. Come check the business out. But it's time for a slice pie.
Yeah, a teeny tiny one this week.
Well, I don't know. It's a pizza pie. Edible cheese plate with arranged pepperoni flavored meat slices.
Yeah, those are... well, if that's cheese, it looks really, really good.
If that's cheese, it looks diseased, and it rhymes.
No, that looks really, really good.
Really?
But yeah, no.
You're just giving me like weapons. It's like, okay, cheese traps. He's susceptible to cheese traps. Is all I'm hearing.
I'm a mouse. No.
I'm a man. Slice of pie.
I am a banana.
This is a great little segment that we get to do. Just anything Raspberry Pi or small and Raspberry Pi-ish related, because where I was going with that, we would get some weird submissions.
Oh, yeah.
No, man. NEC has partnered with Canonical on the Ubuntu cores, man. This is truly... not like groundbreaking. I would have lost this bet, but I think it's a start because it's the Compute Module 3 that we covered on the show quite some time ago. But NEC is going to be taking their 40 and 55-inch signage displays. Think about when you go to a fast food restaurant or someplace like that, or at the aeroports, and plug this in. They're like, hey, it's secure, it's easy, and all that. We're going to hook up and make it a thing, to which, I was just kind of looking through it, and I was like, okay, all right. What do you think, Pedro? I think that's a smart marriage, right?
It is. It is taking a dumb, quote-unquote, panel and turning it into a smart device. Mm-hmm. Which... well, I mean, the compute modules are going to be able to run the Ubuntu core, and with Screenly, they can use them like IoT devices or like standalone units. Yep. So if you ever need to upgrade them to add new functionality, which you probably never will for most of these things, but it's nice that you don't have to replace the entire piece of kit. Yeah, it is, definitely. If, say, you bought a smart TV right now, and a couple of years down the line, there's one with a much better processor that can flick through the different settings much faster and through the different inputs much faster, and it's got awesome refresh rate and all that. Mm-hmm. Well, the refresh rate, you're probably still stuck with the same panel, but for all those background processing needs, yeah, if you have one that just uses a compute module which you can change around all you want, that makes upgrading it that much easier. This is true. And this kind of throws right back to
what I've said every time we've ever mentioned the compute module is this. Mm-hmm. Because NEC, Raspberry, listen to me, okay? There's a market that desperately is looking for a good, high-quality, dumb TV. Mm-hmm. Nice UHD 3840 2160 UHD display that's really pretty. Why? Because we're going to plug it into our Chrome stick, our Fire Stick, our Plex server. That one person...
Steambox, if you're insane enough.
Steambox, man. That one person that still has a Myth TV system hooked up. That's what we're looking for. This, you're like, wait, you can throw in a Pi, just like clicks in the back, flush against... You got a market right there. Now, you're going to be selling this to industry. So there's a 300% markup on it because of reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you can make a piece like this, 50, 55 inch or 40 inch, really, that looks decent for like 400 what stinky American caches. You got my money. I'll buy one of those because I can also use it for a display for this show that can become a screen that I can do a lot of cool things with other than just shove a Chromecast in it and be done with it.
Yeah, no, I am with you. And there's a lot of smart TVs out there nowadays, which are, well, calling back to the whole DRM thing, very much locked down, very much you can't do anything with them. And with the Raspberry Pi compute module, you can do whatever you want with your TV, basically. The panel at that point becomes like a regular monitor. So, yeah, no, it's... we need to see more of these, please.
It's still early days, right? But hey, man, if you have an idea of what that compute module would be better served in, maybe you could tell us about it. Maybe you could contact us somehow. I don't know. Do you think there's a way that could be made possible?
I don't know. There was always that button that left me curious. When you go to LinuxGameCast.com, there's a button on the navigation bar at the top that says contact. There's a form there. It looks way too complicated for me. I'm really dumb. So I never figured it out. But I guess if you pick LWDW on the thing and you fill it out, I can't ever get past the
Listen, man,
captcha.
don't blow a gasket. I'm not paying for another therapy session because you're trying to figure out how to use our contact form.
Yeah, contact form, fill it out. It's pretty easy. Send us your message. Send us your feedback. Send us your suggestions. Really, if you have something to say about the show, we just spent almost an hour screaming at you. Scream back at us.
All right. Coming in, because we were just talking about using Linux in general last week. And why or not... it's going to be the year of the Linux desktop, he's been saying for the past 20 years. Why aren't more people using Linux? And what is the legitimate roadblock in 2017? I think was very, very close to what was said. And Johnny wrote in. He said, man, I have no idea. I have no idea why people still use Windows. Linux and BSD are so superior and less problematic overall. I really have no major complaints with Linux, other than it'd be nice if game developers make their games available for Linux.
Here you go.
Most Windows DX9 games run very well via Wine, Lutris, and play on Linux. I totes agree with you on that, girlfriend.
He kind of answered his own question there.
That's the thing, man. Why do people still use Windows? Question mark, you might ask. Let me tell you why. The answer is very simple, ladies and gentlemen. It's bad parenting. Okay? That's our main problem facing the world today. But hey, look at it this way. If you want to run Windows, you want to run Haiku, if you want to run Mac, if you want to run DOS or Amiga, there's those people, man. Don't tango with them. They will mess you up.
They exist.
Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter. Run it, own it, enjoy it. I have friends that run Windows. They're like, yeah, just like Windows, man. It's easy. And I've after the first 13 or 14 years of process trying to get everyone to convert, it gets a bit thin. Then you realize, if they're interested, then you teach them. But what you really need to do, at the end of the day is just stop with, if, I think Pedro, you'll even agree with me in this, if thing X was on Linux, I would switch, and you use that as an excuse. Stop, because you won't. You never will, because soon as thing X lands on Linux, field goal, gets moved back over here, and there's a new thing
Y was released the other day, and it's really awesome. I got really into it, so yeah, no, I can't change the Linux.
Oh, here's my favorite. My favorite's the Adobe, because everyone thinks the Adobe is the safe thing.
Oh yeah, Photoshop.
They're like, well, Photoshop, I got to do that. And I was like, cool, man. Can you give me? And I asked this very nicely. I was like, do you got like a DeviantArt LinkedIn profile? Do you get a portfolio set up I can go take a look at? Silence. And it's like, right.
There are those people who legitimately...
oh, they are. I know them. Artist, man. Scott McToad. Yeah. I'm sorry, Scott. Yep. I love you. I know you listen. But he probably couldn't get away with doing what he does under Linux. And it's like, all right, I get that. When it comes to games, would I like to see more AAA titles? Yeah. What do you think in 2017, Pedro? Because I think there's like a 25-30% half expecting. It's like, that could come to Linux. I mean,
yeah, you go, oh, okay, so that publisher had Feral or Aspire or whomever do that port one time. Maybe we could get a Linux version out of that.
This is a true thing. We have someone to go to.
Yeah.
We could be like, hey, could you get in contact? We would like you to. But when it comes to indie titles, I have more games than I will ever be able to. We have more games collectively at LinuxGameCast between the three of us than. I mean, it blows my mind as somebody who, when I thought Linux gaming was here to stay when Loki first came out, and I had my little heart broken and stomped on. But now it's just such a bizarre place to be. It's like, I have games in my Steam library that I've never played. And that's a legitimate thing in 2017. I'm very happy that it is. And I think the penguin's out of the bottle, man. I mean,
oh yeah, definitely. The Linux is very much playing with the big boys now. Mm-hmm. And every now and again, I like to bring up the fact that Linux has more games available on Steam alone than the Xbone and the PS4 combined.
So
how about that?
There is that. Let's see. Hey man, what's his face from
oh yeah, that Canadian dude. What we do a show on Saturday with
Jordan Sveg himself, man. What did he say, man? He I think he was reading the show notes as he's.
Oh yeah, he was very much reading the show notes, and he kind of threw in his 2 cents with the W3C DRM thing. And he said, the looming specter of this was on the horizon for a while. The TV and movie industry have this strange stranglehold on technology, further enforced by a desire by tech companies to not cross them for some reason. Money. That's the S was replaced by a $sign. I don't think it's people surprised that it got in. I think people are mad at how easily W3C rolled over. And Jordan is very much so. And I am kind of with Jordan on this one, because as someone who I don't like to get political when it comes to why I use Linux, because I don't use Linux for political reasons. I use Linux because everything is just so much more straightforward, and I get to actually control my operating system for it change. And the fact that you can't do that with the web anymore, or at least that's where we're headed, I agree.
Well, the web is, I mean, yeah, it's going to be the operating system of the future. Everything's a web zone and an application. If you think I'm joking, man, just open up HTOP and crack open a copy of Twitter. If you don't think you're running an app, you're delusional. No, I agree with. They were bought off. They were taught by their DRM overlords. It's like, this will get in. And there was like, okay. And that realizations like that can be soul crushing.
Yeah.
And I have to say, I've been through too many of where it's like, this is going to happen. Watch. The entire time I've had the optimistic hippie beat out of me. The only thing I have
Everyone's you still have that optimism inside you. You go, maybe, just maybe. You may not voice it, but you go, maybe. Maybe things will work out the way that it makes sense.
Well, I think
and
you
everyone
look at
realizes
it
that
and you say to yourself, I would like to be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, that would be nice every now and again. But no. We're far too jaded at this point.
And on that delightful closing, I think that's going to round us out for this week, but we will be back next week. Hey, I think we got to remember, if you're listening to I want to thank Jesse over at distrowatch.com. Our feed's back up. Mm-hmm. Every time I change the feed, I got to remember because he does a weird thing with how that works. And I hit him up this morning, like me getting up early, and he hit me right back. He was like, yo, it's done, taken care of. But if you're listening to the audio, there's a video component. If you want to come check out our ugly mugs, also LinuxGameCast.com, hit that business up for all the show notes, links, descriptions, and you can watch us ramble on against each other about all the fun stuff. Video versions. There's a podcast. You can download just the audio, subscribe to it, listen to it. While you're on a jog, let's face it, you don't jog. But while you're at work, stuck in that horrible, horrible cell of a cubicle, maybe you can do some of that business. If you want to get a hold of me, I'm just at VinStone on Twitter, or you can just type in VinStone on Google. The best way to get a hold of me, though, let's just be real, use the contact button, because all three of us will get those emails. So, yeah.
And for me, well, there's a thing down here. It's at unaccounted for on Twitter or PulseVideo on Google+. Shout at me, either of those. Chances are I will get back to you. Maybe not right then and there, but at some point during the day, I will have finished what I need to do at work for that particular time period, and I will get a chance to go on my phone and do some
I'm just saying, good luck, ladies and gentlemen. If he gets back to me in the same day, I'm floored. So I'm shocked. Hey, here comes the credits. Listen to them if you want, but watch them because your name's in them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's a lot of names in there. And I for one, am totally okay with it.
Yeah. Oh, he loves the credits. It's got his name in it, too. So he's like, these are great. I love them. Best credits ever.
Yeah. They're the best credits because, let's be honest, they have all y'all's names on it. All y'all's who give us money. Your name is there.
Support the show.
Yep. And apparently there's remember when Jordan called me Pablo?
I still call
and that's kind of a thing at work now again too.
Good. I see my money was well spent.